And welcome back, folks, to episode 76 of the Wet Shavers Roundtable. I'm Douglas Smythe, and I'm here today with, well, we have a very slim panel today. I have Mantic 59 with me, but Mantic's like worth like 10 wet shavers, so you know it's rather
maybe
big.
More.
Yeah, there we go.
More.
Possibly more. And also joining us today is the man, the myth, the slam dancer, Robert Phillips of local Gent. This, my friends, is the beginning of our move towards the Big Shave West. So we're going to start pulling on vendors and artists that will be participating there with us, and in a chance and an opportunity for you to get to know them a little before you actually meet them in person. So, Robert's been on the show off and on for years. He's a good friend of ours. And, if you don't know or have tried his soaps, they are awesome. They are some of the best out there. And same can be said for his brushes. His brushes are actually cutting edge, and he's really starting to blow up with his brushes. So check out the local Gent brushes. Robert, how the hell are you? There we go.
I am really good. How are you guys doing?
Hold up that brush.
Fine Saturday. This is
you can't do that. You can't hold it up and tear it away. Okay, hold close to the camera.
Bring it in.
Yeah, there we go. Oh yeah, look at that. Very nice.
Yeah, I love this. I love this style. It's kind of like I wanted to do something that was more of like a throwback to a lot of vintage style brushes, like you see, like double ducks and stuff like that were kind of done like in this style, like this two-tone style.
Rubber set.
And yeah, exactly. And I just love those brushes, and I hadn't done one in a while, and I was like, I'm gonna do one. So
yeah, I have a question. So the top part of that brush, is that just like a vinyl rubber type piece?
No, this is all solid. All solid. Yeah, it's all the same material. It's just the way I cast the blank. I cast it in two different colors. That way, when I cut it, I know where I can start and pull the other.
Okay. Yeah, because I have seen some, and I don't know if some modern brushes that look a lot like the classic ones, but the classic ones have that separate piece there. And I think some of the modern guys are actually doing that, and I just don't know how they're doing it. So I wanted to.
It's like I guess it'd be like a cap, or I mean, if you're doing a rubber piece, I guess you'd use that the same material, and you could, cap it over it just by making like a tendon, kind of like like a nut and bolt kind of deal, kind of like you would that one brush you produce, the chrome one. I can't remember. That's kind of like the rubber set where it has the screw. Switchback, yeah. Like it'd be kind of like that.
Sure, but what are they using for the top pieces? That like are they cutting? I mean, what are they using for material?
I don't know. I think
it's
the
like
one I
rubbery.
saw, yeah, it was like a rubber X material. I don't know. I'd have to look into a little bit more on that one to be able to. But I'm sure it's just they're just casting those pieces. So you really can't turn rubber. So I mean, through vulcanization or whatever you're trying to do, you would have to cast that part.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, sorry. I just totally screwed up the introduction to this show. Welcome, Robert. It's great to have you. So what's new? What's going on? What are you thinking about?
All kinds of new stuff. We're about to start doing aftershaves here. So we're hoping to have our own line of aftershaves to release on Big Shave. So hopefully that'll go through as long as the formulation seems to be working right now. So we're going to be getting a couple in order to start sending out to people to test for us and kind of getting some feedback. And then
meaning Mantic and myself, right?
Sure, I'll send you some for sure. I would love your input on that. I think you have one of the best aftershaves I've ever used. So I don't even think I'll even be able to come close to something as what you do, but I would like to be able to add what
you're doing. You're buttering my whiskers right now. That's what you're doing.
Are my whiskers flinching towards yours a little bit?
They are. It's like looking at myself in the mirror, kind of like I am sick.
So even if we don't have it completely done, we're gonna hopefully have a bunch of samples to give away of our aftershaves too during the Big Shave West this year, plus lots of other promotionals, giveaways, and a lot of freebies this year. So you're gonna have a lot of Gent stuff to keep in your den this year for sure. And we're also going to be having a new soap releasing next month, a new just kind of a fun. Sometimes I don't even know if we can't even call it seasonal because it's not really in a season. Because we also have our summer seasonal will be coming out before Big Shave as well. It'll be Kona Colada will be coming out for its third year. It'll be having completely new labeling, and it's gonna be awesome. I try to do something different every year, so this year's going to be even more awesome than it was last year. So if you're a fan of that, make sure you get up on that one this year. And we're also have a new one right before that, like I said, you can't really call it a seasonal. It's just kind of like a fun I'm just doing it for fun because I want to do something fun. So I'm doing just kind of a fun soap. If I'm able to, I'll be able to do the aftershave with that one as well. Might be towards the end of its run, but yeah, it's going to be.
Considering the poster that's behind you, are you going to make it in the shape of a globe with a little dent in it and call it Death Star?
That would be pretty cool. Make like a half-domed like puck or something, like Death Star puck.
Yeah, then you could make a matching aftershave called Lawsuit.
Lawsuit, right? Hey, you're ain't anybody till you've been sued by Lucas, right? Oh.
I've heard that. I'm waiting for that one to come in. I feel like I've been sued by, almost sued by everybody. But
I guess it'd be Disney now. But yeah. So yeah, that'll be a fun soap. So I'm looking forward to releasing that. We have a couple other new products. I'm making razor stands that are going to be able to match our brushes. So when you do get a custom brush done by me, in that signature, we do like a signature marble style. It's kind of like Murano glass. A lot of guys have been, freaking out about these brushes. We want to be able to give you a razor stand in that same look that's also handmade. And I have a style I'm working on right now. I'll be releasing some pictures and stuff like later this week. So make sure you follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and we'll be have tons of great stuff to be able to show you that are going to be released and available to sell either on Big Shave West 3 or just before. I know the soap we're going to release a week before to people that are on our mailing list on our website at www.
Jeez, it's nonstop, man. What's going on? I can't.
So make sure you follow us there and get on this soap before it's available anywhere else.
So
but that's
Big
what's going
Shave
on.
West. That's and don't forget, we're going to be at the Maggards meetup together too. We're sharing a table, from what I understand.
I look forward to that.
As do I.
It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be.
I was there last year. It was really cool.
Yeah,
nice. Are you going this year, Mantic?
Yes, I'm planning.
Okay, great.
Well, then I plan to be able to shake your hand and buy you a beer.
And you plan on sitting down with me in my camcorder for an interview too. I'm planning to do that again this year.
Count in.
Already talked to Brad Maggard about a new location for. There you go. There.
Just got this in. I thought you did. That's why I thought you'd appreciate this, and that's why I picked it up. I was like, Mantic's using something. I think this is the one he has, but
similar.
Nice.
Good.
Nice. So you're gonna be doing that again. Yeah, that'll be awesome. You're gonna be doing that. So you're gonna be doing interviews at the magazine. You're also gonna be doing interviews at Big Shave West as well, right?
If I can, yeah. If I need to talk to
Damon.
Oh, thank you, Damon, about a location. But
we'll find one for you. We will definitely find one for you. I mean, just tell me, and you're already there. You're all good.
Well, I'm definitely planning on bringing the camcorder. I just wasn't sure whether I'd have a place to sit down for interviews.
Yeah, I might actually sit you down right in front of the step and repeat sign of the Big Shave West. So you'll have like the Hollywood backdrop behind you of, Big Shave West, yada, yada, yada. But that'll be great. And what do you plan on doing, Mark? Just interviewing vendors, artisans, or people on the scene as well?
I don't have any real firm plans right now. Probably would like to do some vendor interviews like I did at Maggard's, just some attendee kind of reactions.
Yes.
You guys have already done the actual last year. You did a regular movie practically, so I can't really do anything more than that. But I'll do
part of it.
My own small part.
Yeah, no, everyone's telling their story in their own unique way. Telling the story of the Big Shave West, or just the meetups in general in their own cool way. So I think it all adds to it, because there'll be eventually a movie about the whole wet shaving scene someday, and Brad Pitt will be playing me. This is what I'm planning on, anyways. And be using all this archival stuff to get where they need to go with that. I think. What do you guys think in the audience over there? What do we got going on in the peanut gallery? So we got. Who we got here? We got Robert, but Gerasino, Chad, Darth. How fitting that you're here with us today. Chris Bailey.
Join in, Darth.
Okay, guys. I just want to remind everyone. Please leave questions below in regards to the Big Shave West or local Gent, and we'll get to them. It makes it easier for to find the questions if you post them in the question spot. There's also a poll, folks. There's also an offer today, too. It's not really an offer. It's just the Big Shave West swag bag, which we can get to a little later. But I just wanted to put that up there so people know that they're for sale right now. That's going on. Well, before we even go into the Big Shave West, I got to tell you guys a little story about the StyleCon. So as you remember,
that was interesting to see you on like a panel too. Like that was really interesting. Was that something that was planned or
not at all?
I didn't think so.
In typical Douglas Smythe fashion, I ended up making my way onto a panel. And I was talking about this for weeks, as you guys remember, how I was, I like to go away once a week and feel inadequate. So I was setting up for, getting ready for StyleCon. But the thing is, I tried to buy a suit like months before. I was really trying to like get into the StyleCon feel, and I couldn't find anything. I was refusing to drop like $700 to $1,000 on a suit for one day. I mean, so I was like, I'm just going to rely on my closet and stuff that I used to wear in my 20s and my 30s and try to mishmash something together and do it. And but I it's StyleCon. I knew I was going to completely fail. In fact, I was growing out a beard to shave off to test a new razor on, but I was like, I'm going to go for the stubble look like they do, and like try to fit in that way too. So I left the beard, and I get all dolled up, or hussied up, as they say, and then went to StyleCon. And you know what? I fit right in, so much so that people like in charge of like some of these major companies were like, "You got style," and it's like, "Thank you, I have style." But inside, I'm like going, "Oh my god, I'm doing it!" And eventually, I somehow finagled my way into the grooming panel. This stuff was already booked. I wasn't even in the program to speak or anything like that, but I managed to get on that. And the ironic part about it is during the grooming panel, guys were encouraged to line up and come on stage one at a time for me to critique.
To critique your outfit?
Their style and their grooming. So I think actually this beard is going to be very popular come this spring. But I was going on about using, the jawline as a guide to shaving and whatnot, and face shapes versus, facial hair and how to work. I just was doing my thing, my how to grow a mustache thing. And but then I was moving on to their outfits as well. I kind of got into it, and like, but after that, for the rest of the night, we went to 3 bars. We were like bar hopping after that, and at every bar, guys would come up to me and start lining up again and ask me to critique their stuff. So I got the last laugh. That's what it all came down to there.
Yeah, I don't have any style. This is what I wore like, half a decade ago.
Yeah, exactly. That's really what it was. I mean, the pants I was wearing were from the 70s. They were vintage stuff that I had from my 20s. But yeah, I pulled it off. Another thing that happened was I'm part of the grooming thing. I'd always talk about wet shaving. I would bring wet shaving into the mix a little because no one there. It was such an interesting thing because, historically I'd go to meetups and talk about wet shaving, and it's nothing new. I'm not telling anyone anything they don't already know.
Yeah,
I may be talking about stuff they haven't heard of, but they all know about wet shaving. They all know how great it is. I'm not have to convince them or anything. It's kind of like this. When you go to another country and start talking about politics, people actually want to hear what you have to say. Whereas here, everyone's so sick of it. And it's the same thing. Like, wet shaving meetups, I can go, well, you don't have sensitive skin. And the guy's like, no, I do have sensitive skin. He wants to argue with you why you have sensitive skin. There I could go, you guys do not have sensitive skin, and I'll tell you why you don't have it. And their eyes like picked up, and they were so full of, they just couldn't get enough of it. And after we spoke, this is the funny part too, is after I spoke on the panel, I was like, guys, meet me at the back of the room for some free samples. I don't want to leave, with big bags of samples. I want to give them all away. And so after I spoke, everyone rushed my table. I didn't have a table. I was setting up a table. Like it was a tiny cafe, like one of those stand-up bar type tables. Everyone surrounding that. Cameras were in my face as I went on about wet shaving and fragrance making. I was also talking about perfuming. More irony is there was a perfuming panel going on as I was creating all this ruckus in the back of the room talking about perfuming. So I kind of I felt so bad, like, oh my god, I'm totally disrupting StyleCon. I'll be reading about this in the forums, but it was really interesting to really, like, people were like, tell me more about this thing you call, well, what is it, wet shaving? And yes,
it's like it's blowing their mind that they think it's something completely new, right?
Those are my people. That's who I want to talk to. Like, I love everyone here in this world and whatnot, but there's like, I really could reach people. Like, it was almost like a pseudo-religious experience. And interestingly enough, I was reading something last night. I was reading an article from 1984. It was on one of the Gillette products that came out in 1984. I'm not going to say which one it is because I'm going to be doing a show about it. But in it, they referenced wet shaving all the way back as far as 1984. This is 33 years ago. They talked about wet shavers, and they even put it in quotes.
Interesting.
Which kind of it threw me for a loop because I thought this is something we've only been using for like the last 10 or 15 years. But evidently, as far back as the 80s, early 80s, they were calling people wet shavers too.
Well, if you think about it, if it was on a piece of advertisement that long, it's probably been used probably a little bit before that. just within people talking about how to describe a group of people that are wet shaving or, using that form of shaving.
Yeah,
maybe we older a little bit.
Well, you always hear the thing is like, back in the day we didn't call it wet shaving, we just called it shaving. Well, when was back in the day is what I want to know, because this is 1984. So like,
when was your back in the day?
Granted that there was the Black Beauty was still being produced, I think, in 1984. Oh, it was 81.
81.
And was it 81 it stopped?
I'm trying to think. I want to say it did, because I know it ran like pretty much from. I'm trying to remember the first 3 years.
1970, like 1970, I think 1980. It's either 81 or 84. It's somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Because I only know this because a lot of people a little bit younger than me, that's their, or maybe 5, 6, 10 years younger than me, that's their birth year razor. So that's what it's the early 80s.
Yeah, it's
so
mine.
it had, so it had to be Ryan Stephen Green. I can't remember how old he is, but no, I think 82. It might have been 82 they stopped making it. Matt Pisarsik, if you're watching, I need your help right now.
Yeah, that was actually when I first started wet shaving. When I finally found wet shaving, which is funny, is because one of the very first things I remember really kind of seeing back then was one of Mantic's videos, and he kind of turned me on to a lot of vintage stuff when I was doing a lot of research when I first started, and it was like 2011. So I mean, it was a long time ago, but I mean. That was one of those things.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah, well, it was a long time ago for me, because I think about where I started and where I am now. Like, I don't pick up as many razors, or I don't pick up as many products as I do as I used to. Right. But that's because I'm constantly always making something that I'm trying to give to somebody else to give to the community. Sure. So that always makes it difficult for me, a wet shaver. But one of the very first razors I ever used that I found when I went that route was a Black Beauty.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, it was. And that was the very first razor that I remember seeing as a child that my dad had underneath his sink. So it was kind of like, I remember that was the first one I found in the wild, and I was like, that's kind of like everything's coming together for me. And I've always enjoyed, it was that first shave. I remember glowing for like a couple days after that shave, going, wow, I never felt like shaving meant.
Was it a red glow? If it was, you're doing it wrong.
No, it was just a sense of confidence. I felt like my skin was glowing more. I felt like, I felt more relaxed after that shave, which was really bizarre. After about like 3 or 4 shaves, that first 3 or 4 shaves, I was like, wow, this is like, why do I feel so relaxed after shaving? That's so weird. I'm used to just going, put the cream on here, let's get this off my face. And now I'm actually spending time, concentrating on something else, like building a lather is very Zen-like. And, I know a lot of guys like to really spend time building that lather because it's very relaxing. It's just getting your mind to do something else. And, that's what really drew me to the whole wedge, not just the, being able to save money, which is ridiculous anyway. Had good intentions to do that, but it never turned out that way. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, to me, just that feeling alone really kind of was what drew me to wet shaving. And that's exactly why I've been staying in it for as long as I have. It's just, I actually enjoy the relaxation I get from it. I mean, today I had an amazing shave with a new razor I just bought, a vintage one. It was a Clicks. Oh, yeah. I think it's like from the 30s. It's Bakelite with a nickel plated top handle or top head, and it kind of feels like a fat handle tech, like a 1930s fat handle tech has like the same aggression to that. And
I actually have one. I think somewhere over here.
I wanted to. I don't know if anyone's felt this way. Maybe a lot of you guys have. Is you kind of wish you had more face, like you wanted the shave to last longer, like you wish you had more.
I just take the blade out.
If you didn't have a mustache and beard, you would have more face.
You're right. You're absolutely right. This all needs to go. And then I'll have more chin down here to shave too. So I'll have an extra one. Yeah, that'll be great.
Or just start calling other people into the bathroom too. I mean, why stop?
Yeah, come here, let me shave your face.
Girl.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But it was just like I was like, wow, this is actually, I really dug this razor. I dug the style of it. The style is it appealed to me. I mean, very Art Deco, and I'm a sucker for that. And when I got it, I wasn't expecting much out of it, but I was really, really surprised by it. I was like, wow, I think this is going to get a lot of mileage in my shaved in here.
Well, those
plus
especially,
Bakelite, I love it.
Yeah, the Bakelites with the top caps, the metal top caps are nicer, I think. Well, physics wise, I mean, just they add more weight to the top. It's really nice. I'd like to recreate one of those.
I like. If you could redo this one, I'd be all over it myself.
Is it a solid, solid handle, or is it hollow?
It's solid hand. It's a solid handle. It even has like a tin slip in it. So when they put the tin slip in, they actually use the head to get the grooves in. So it's not plastic on metal. It's actually metal on metal.
Yes,
just like you did the Bakelite razor, we did brass on brass. It's kind of the same way in there, but yours has a better insert. It's more modern. But going back to the head, what I really like about the head, or what I noticed between using like the Bakelite head and then using the nickel plated head, was the slip. The slip I got from it, just on the skin. I got it right here.
Oh, you.
Yeah, it feels. I mean, you could just feel the slip, especially when it's wet. When I got it kind of wet with soap, I felt the slip was slipperier on this one than it was on the Bakelite. So I think that added a lot to the shave.
Show us the top cap. Oh, that's different than what I have. But yeah, no, it's the same.
I mean, this one's in beautiful condition. I mean, it looks barely ever used. I mean,
let me go grab mine. I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves.
Right. No problem.
1987 was last year the Black Beauty.
Okay, it is way off, but yeah, I really dug this. I mean, this is a really pristine. I mean, they're pretty easily to find clicks. I mean, it's made in America, but I'm sure they've been everywhere. Have you ever used one of these before, Mantic?
No, actually not. I actually am not a big fan of vintage razors in general. I don't know why. Just vintage razors never really tripped my trigger. So I never got the collecting bug for vintage razors, although I have obviously a ton of new razors from other things. But I admit I do have a bit of a fascination for the Stolly Live blade, but that's just because it's such a quirky razor.
It was the first of its kind.
Yeah, and I am looking casually for my birth razor in just a regular super speed, but I don't really. I'm surprisingly enough to a lot of people, I've never really gotten into the vintage shaving stuff.
Yeah. Well, you're in Logic. I remember in the past you were telling me that the one thing that you can't guarantee what the condition it's going to be in. You don't know the life it had. So whereas with a modern razor, it's more consistent. I respect that. That makes sense to me.
But to me, it was just a lot of modern razors didn't have like a ton of style that I really like. I like a lot of that throwback. Look at that one. See,
is that great?
That's
butterscotch.
Yeah, I love it.
Got the decorative top cap, but yeah, the weight is really the fulcrum is right here. It's like right over. Right. I wonder if that comes off. No, it doesn't. Right over this fluted part is the fulcrum point. So it's like.
So it's about the same as what I'm doing right now with mine.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's nice. Yeah. It's very nice. And the solid handle, the length of the handle, it's almost 3.5 inches. It's a very nice Bakelite. I wish I could reproduce this. It's always difficult to do the marble Bakelite to get that reproduced because a lot of these people, they don't do it artistically anymore. They do it for component pieces and whatnot. So there's no artistry behind Bakelite anymore. So yet. I'll hope we can bring that back.
But yeah, I really dug a lot of these. Just I love the little nerd, just the little touch they put at the top, and I love this knurling they did. This knurling is just awesome. I mean, just if I could just reproduce this, I would.
Like a Greek column.
I really like it. It's super nice, and I can't wait to shave with it again. So, it's really rare for me to do that.
Were you guys saying something about moderns have no style? We got Trent over here. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, there are the ones you mentioned, the Timeless, the Wolfman, and Charcoal. Those have crazy style, Trent. And
yes, they do. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like the overly mass-produced stuff that comes out is just
the artisan stuff is definitely. I mean, Charcoal, good. I mean, what Brian's doing is absolutely breathtaking. It stopped me in my tracks the first time I saw one of his handles, and then when I saw Complete Razor, I was like, this guy's onto something. This This is it. This is next level.
Sorry for putting that out there the wrong way. It wasn't about. I was talking about like the mass-produced, a lot of the modern-day mass-produced stuff.
Yeah.
It hasn't really appealed to me. I've always been kind of going to the vintage stuff, but a lot of the new artisan razors that are coming out.
Oh yeah,
that's where the style comes in. I mean, I have a couple, and I've seen tons of great handle styles. Even people that just make handles. I mean, I really dig that too. So there's always something great artisans make for this to kind of give everything a little bit more style. But a lot of the mass-produced stuff is kind of really weak. It feels poorly made, and I mean, I don't know. I picked up a couple when I first started as well. Like as I was going through, because they kind of have that vintage look. They're kind of trying to look like a Super Speed or, but feel like
the Pakistan stuff.
Yeah, but a lot of that's like the butterfly door ones. I mean, they feel like they're made out of aluminum foil.
They pretty much are.
So that's the stuff I was.
A magnet won't even stick to them. Like try it with a Wishi sticking a magnet to it. It's like, oh, is this even metal? I mean, yeah. Okay, we got some questions down below, guys. Unless there's anything else going on over on the sidebar. 12 blazers. Yeah. Okay. So we're all in agreement. The mass-produced stuff is mass-produced stuff, and and it's all about the bottom line at the end of the day with a lot of these companies. I think, aside from Edwin Jagger, that's still small. I mean, that's still family-owned, and Neil's still so involved. And as who was it?
But his styles are classic though.
And he's there. He's there. The owner is present, and Stan, made a point to bring that up last when he was on the show. Like that really does make a difference in the production of anything. I guess is the owner there or is he absent? And Neil is there. He's on the. I mean, it's his casting. Okay, let's see. What is the lodging situation? Okay, we already got to that. So lodging situation on the oldtownshaving.com. Damon should have some options there, but I highly recommend if you get into the Marriott Courtyard, do that. End answering. Okay. Why would a man choose? Okay. Why would a man choose an aftershave splash rather than a bomb? That is another. Your mileage may vary.
Most definitely.
Yeah,
I mean, not always bomb preference.
You want to take that one, Mantic?
I admit to my own personal biases, so
let's hear it.
Generally, what you said, Douglas, a lot of it is the time of the year. For myself, particularly living in the hot, humid South, summers, I generally go toward lighter products. Winters are heavier products, but I still stay far away from the high alcohol content splashes. And you can get low alcohol content splashes.
Sure. Oh yeah.
The one that comes to mind is Lucky Tiger. For the mass-produced ones, but for a lot of people, they like the burn, like the little kid from Home Alone. It's burning for a reason. It's your skin doesn't like it when it does that. Again, like you said, your mileage may vary, but I generally stick to low alcohol products.
Yeah.
No matter what time of year.
Yeah.
The consistency might be runnier in the summer than in the winter, but.
Right. Ian of Village Barber fame, he very much thinks the same way. Yep. He's all about not putting alcohol in your face, and I can get behind both. Actually, I mean, I see the benefit for both, and I mean, it's great as an astringent, as to sterilize. It's just what's important to me is, does it have moisturizing ingredients in it also? Because the alcohol will burn away fast. And what are you left with then? Just the alcohol, or did they put moisturizing stuff in it as well? And so as long as it contains 20-30% alcohol and the rest something face saving, then I'm okay with it. But
really,
bombs,
that high, 30%.
Well, it can be. I mean,
only
like that's as high as I'll go. I mean, like really. I mean, in that opinion, right there.
Wow. Okay. Now, for me, it's more like 15 to 20.
Yeah. Well,
but again, it's personal.
Yeah, it really is. I started off just enjoying tonics myself, like witch hazel or just tonics, alcohol-free. Bombs are always a little too heavy for me because I was in Massachusetts at the time, and the humidity there is insane. Here in Arizona, it's not that bad. But I actually started using bombs at night. Before I go to bed, I put them on now. and that's really it. I don't like them during the day. They're too thick for me, and it also speeds up the dry down if I do use a cologne. So I just like a good old-fashioned splash these days with an alcohol-based splash. But again, it's totally personal preference, and depends on everything, time of year, skin type, so on and so forth. Same thing can be said for alum. Alum is another thing that your skin reacts to. It gets taut. It's an astringent. Any other animal in the animal kingdom, if that had some type of reaction, that goes, okay, we got to stay away from that. But we're using it for a purpose. We are using it to sterilize and work in an astringent manner and tone. So it's about, how you control these forces of nature, I guess. Or like hot sauce. Any other animal that would lick hot sauce be like, no, okay, that's poison. But us as humans go, oh, this is awesome. I feel like I'm getting more bang for my buck with this. Yeah. And I actually, someone brought up hot sauce before. Maybe it was Mr. Fine when we were talking about aftershaves. Because, he's all about alcohol-based aftershave splashes. And I think he said it was the same type of person that goes for hot sauces, likes the burn of aftershave, too. So that could be it. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think, Rob? Now that you're breaking into aftershaves and hearing this, what do you think?
Oh, I think, for my mileage, that is, I've always kind of used all three. Always used alum. But it really depends on the shave I gave myself that day. If my shave felt a little bit more aggressive, I might use the alum. If I kind of maybe got some nicks, kind of get that something to be so irritating. And then I'll go in with the balm and let the balm kind of, seep into my skin a little bit, hydrating that layer. And then I'll throw a little alcohol in just to kind of, I'll throw a splash on top of that. That's if I'm really having a really rough shave. But like today's shave, I didn't use any balm. Yeah. But today I didn't use any balm. I didn't feel like my skin needed it. Sometimes, like you said, after at night, especially if I take a shower at night, I'll use the balm. I'll use our balm all the time to, put it in not only on my face after I shave, especially if I get any redness. I'll take it away within about 20 minutes because it hydrates the skin back up, which I really like. Right. I like it even just putting it through my hair as a kind of leave-in conditioner in my beard. Maybe some, dry spots, and I'm good to go. Yeah. So, aftershave balms has got a lot of mileage on it compared to sometimes I'll even put a little aftershave splash before I go to bed as well. Not just on my face, but just maybe a little bit on my, just because I want to smell good before I crawl into bed, just because, who doesn't? So, I think it's really how you decide to use these tools to your advantage to really, because all these are tools. These are tools not to only make you look good and feel good, but they do have a lot of great benefits, and just putting them to use where you need them, they're valuable, every one of them. If you're not, but you may not find value in one or the other, and a lot of guys don't, and that's totally cool. But I'm one of those. I'm kind of like a Swiss Army knife of all that. I got to have all of it.
Well, it's funny you bring up Swiss Army knife because they're all multi tools too. If you ask me, they all have multiple uses. So
exactly.
No, I think
especially the balm.
Balm.
Too.
Balm is such a funny word too, because there's so many different types of balms, like emulsions, balms, moisturizers. When people are asking me like lotion, like is it a lotion or a balm or a moisturizer? I'm like, well, those are kind of, it depends on where you grew up, really. To me, like a balm used to be
consistency for me too. It's like the consistency kind of distinguishes me between a lotion and a balm too. Usually the balm's a little bit more on the thicker side, or lotion and kind of like is more thinner to me. But that's just the way that's just the way I determine it. I think about it when I think about it.
That's the exact opposite of what I think about it. Like when I think of like a balm, I think about something that's a little bit thinner, runnier, maybe orange or yellow in color, like an emulsion, this may go back to Burt's Bay Rum, the balm that they used to have, the aftershave balm. And it was like this, it was a little bit thinner, orange, yellowish. And I've seen some European ones like that too, that are just thinner.
Like Artist Shavings is kind of like that too, right?
Then there's also D.R. Harris's aftershave milk, which is between the two.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's very watery. Yeah.
The milks. And I think a lot of the times, the milks happened by accident. I think their ratios were off actually with their emulsifiers. And so rather than get them right, they just said, yeah, we'll use that milky color and exploit it by calling it milk. I've seen it done a million times. I've made this mistake too. Before I was getting my ratios, I didn't release it. But once you get the ratio ready, it clears up. But emulsifiers can sometimes give it that milky effect. Miracell
I mean,
emulsion.
it's all about formulation too. I mean, I know I formulated our aftershave balm to be really penetrating, so it doesn't lay on the top of the skin. Doesn't have a lot. Doesn't make your skin feel oily. It's just kind of hydrating it and nourishing it, and that's what I wanted it to do. But I also kind of like it as an all body lotion too, because that's what I kind of want lotion to do. I don't want it to sit on my skin and making me feel oily. And you know,
you want to
I hate that. Yeah. It's kind of like when you use like hotel soap and you're like, I can't wait to get some lotion on. And then the lotion just sits there all night and you're like, oh, yeah.
Okay.
I didn't want that.
Am I supposed to be answering these from the top down or the bottom up? Oh, whatever. We'll go to the next one. The next one's up top. And it's Mantic.
You're looking at that. Just a real quick comment on the right-hand side. I did link to one of my old YouTube videos that goes into explaining. It doesn't really recommend aftershaves, but it goes into explaining what they are and good ingredients versus bad ingredients and things like that. So that might be useful too.
I'll take a look at that.
Very cool. Well, Mantic, this question goes to you. It's Mantic. How do you suggest people set a budget when buying products pertaining to shaving? The paper route.
Get 2 post office boxes and 2 separate credit cards, and then order off one every other month and never tell anybody.
Buy a credit card at Cumberland Farms or something like that you can load up so your wife does.
Well, you know, I've been doing this long enough to know that there are good products in virtually every price range. So,
well said.
You know, take the time to figure out a general budget with what you're comfortable with. And if you want to splurge with something a little more expensive, you know, go for it if you can get past your significant other. For me, that's not a problem because my significant other actually got me into the niche.
Yeah, she's to blame.
She is. She's the enabler. I'll look at something and she says, go for it. But, you know, you can get a perfectly good razor at under $10 with a Dorco PL602, for example,
right?
Or some of the new brushes that are under $25, in fact, really under $15, are perfectly serviceable. You can get a Vanderhagen luxury shave soap for, you know, $3.
Yep.
But if you want to maybe splurge and get a small tube of, say, Truffet and Hill, or a large puck of Phoenix for something on something you enjoy, you know, there's nothing wrong with it, in my opinion. It's basically what you're comfortable with spending and staying within that niche. Now, if the sky's the limit, then you can do things like, you know, the one blade razor, or Aqua de Parma shave cream, or you know,
X-Spec
brush.
Yeah, I was gonna say that one. Oh my goodness.
I know. I feel the same way.
I don't understand that price, but whatever.
I should have called it disappointment, actually.
You know, but there's splurges. You don't have to do it all the time.
Right.
So that's kind of my take on it.
I'd like to add to his take on it. Another thing you might want to do if you're trying to keep a budget when wet shaving is stay out of the forums. There should be a forum for people that are trying to budget, actually, where you just don't do shaves of the day or anything. It's just like no frills.
Safe, advertised, free. Yeah. No one shows shaves of the day or anything new.
Yeah, that's what gets all of us. We all come into this to save money, and then we start participating in these forums and see all these cool shaves of the day.
Once you unleash the veil, I mean, it becomes this whole thing. I mean, that's how almost. I don't know what the percentage would be on that, but I would say everyone I've ever talked to, they're kind of like coming to what shaving story is. I was trying to save money one day.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, okay, yeah. So how deep are you in now? It's kind of like we should have AA. We should have like a wet shaving AA.
Hello, you know? Robert.
Hello. I've been a wet shaver
WSA, Wet Shavers Anonymous. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we can all confess about how much we spend and feel better about it at the end of the day. But I think about, you know, if it's making you happy and you don't feel guilty about it, then you're doing it right. If you feel guilty about the money you're spending, you probably need to take a step back and slow it down a little bit and really decide what you need. I mean, I know a lot of guys, they're chasing the unicorn out there. They're chasing something that doesn't exist because they want to try the newest and greatest thing because they haven't found what really works for them yet. It's finding what really works for you and going that route. And then eventually you'll get there. I mean, I'm still a lot of guys still new to the whole thing, and they want to grab up everything they can because that's what they enjoy, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if it starts making you feel bad, I think that's when you should take a time and look at what you're actually doing and why. And, maybe make a change or don't. It's really up to you. I mean, no one should really, I can't tell you how to spend your money or not spend your money. But I know for me, if I was not getting joy out of it, I would take a look at it. And, I haven't seen anybody getting joy out of it. Maybe guilted, but not joy.
Okay, someone's asking, can Florida water, where did I just see that? Can cologne be used as aftershave? Example, Florida water. Florida water actually isn't a good example for colognes. It's because it's mostly there is more alcohol in it than water, but not much. So in that case,
but the fragrance doesn't last long either.
Yeah, you could definitely use that. But most colognes, I mean, you could it depends what the top is like too. Is it an atomizer, or are you pouring it in your hand? If you're pouring it in your hand, you could add a little bit of distilled water to it and use it as an aftershave if you wanted to. But typically colognes are more expensive, and they have a higher amount of fragrance in them. So do you want to use the aftershave in a traditional sense where the scent's going to fade fast and you can add a cologne on top of that, or do you want to use it as a 2-in-1? So really the choice is up to you. But yeah, you can add a little bit of distilled water. That goes for if you find some aftershaves a little too much burning happening with them. You can add a little bit of distilled water to it in your hand, and that'll usually dilute the alcohol. And yeah. So I hope that answers your question. Whoever asked that. What else we got? Okay, here's a question. I would rather spend my money on quality products than overpriced razors. Okay, that's not a question. Thanks, Bob. Figured it's the guy who spells his name backwards. Okay, what do we got? Okay, here's another one. Bob, you and your questions. Here's another one from Bob. Marriott in Old Town Pasadena is available for $237 per night. Yeah, sorry, Bob. I guess what happens.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the price when there's a convention going on in that town, I guess. Because we picked the weekend where it's kind of busy down there already.
If you get miles on your card, you can apply them to the room and possibly use AAA as well. But yeah, next year we should probably try to work out a deal for everyone that's staying there.
Yeah, that should be in Big J West for sure.
Chad Burns is asking what's the difference between aftershaves and colognes. I kind of just touched upon that, but the real big thing is back in the day, aftershaves were invented. Barbers were using the same tools on everyone back in the day. They also charging pennies for a quick shave. The shops were full of people all the time, and so they weren't stropping or honing as much as they probably should have been. So they would leave you with a few nicks here and there, but what do you want for 6 pennies? So to make sure that you weren't going to get infected after the fact, they would slap on some alcohol and a scent, or they'd mix a talc and some alcohol and just slap it on you real quick, and that would assure them that you weren't going to get infected. And oddly enough, was it Thoreau? Yeah, Walden Books. He wrote what inspired him to move out to Walden was his brother died of an infection he got from a razor, straight razor shave at the barber's. So it can happen. So that's where the need for it came into place. But and colognes, that goes back to ancient Egypt, and it's a higher fragrance, higher alcohol, higher fragrance ratio than an aftershave. Traditionally, you didn't want an aftershave to even have a fragrance. That was an afterthought. It was just mainly used to sterilize you after the shave, and then we got a little more. We had a little more fun with it as time went on, and we had a little bit of fragrance to it. But back in the day, no guy really they didn't match their deodorant to their cologne to their aftershave. We're doing that nowadays. So back in the day, you got Williams is a fine example. You have Aqua Velva, and then you have Williams. Two very different scents, but it didn't matter. They weren't thinking about it like that. So I hope that clears up a little bit. You guys want to add anything to that, Mantic? Robert?
Yeah, I was wondering when all that kind of started for people, did the artisan market kind of start that whole putting stuff together that way, or
I think it was grads and dads actually started that. I think it was marketing back in the day, Father's Day. So Old Spice was really good with that. That they sell the kit, the aftershave, the cologne, the deodorant, and so
I think Brute did that stuff like that too, right? Like
all those
Brute.
competing brands started doing that probably in the I don't know,
like the 60s.
Yes, 6, 7.
Yeah.
I think late 70s, 80s for me, but that's when I was buying stuff for my dad, so I don't know for sure what exists before then. Mantic, do you remember that stuff?
No, actually, I don't.
Yeah,
I remember
remember in my case, I was a and my father too. We used electric razors for 30 years before I saw the light, and so I don't know a whole lot about the history.
Yeah, I can get back to you on that. I'm actually really interested in the history of aftershaves. I'm compiling more and more information on them as I go along. So I'll get back to you on that answer. Who was that? That was Chad. So I hope that helps out for now. And Robert, what is this? Okay, we got some wacky questions here. We're gonna not focus on. Okay, here we go. As a former scout, I really appreciate Doug's push for wet shaving. For wet shaving merit badge for the Boy Scouts of America. Are there any special efforts to extend invitations to local Boy Scouts to the big show? Oh yeah, actually there are, Chad. I just texted Damon. It's pretty funny. It's probably on my phone right now. I could show you, but I probably shouldn't. Reminding him to invite the local Boy Scouts to the meetup. And I think that goes for all the meetups that are happening across the country. If you guys are part of meetups or a part of someone putting one together, consider inviting the Scouts too, because it's kind of like a grassroots effort to create awareness that wet shaving is something that exists and should be in that book. And the only way it's really going to happen is if we convince the Scoutmasters that it's a better way to shave too. I think they're going to be the ones to help us get us in the book. But the best we can do right now is write them. So myscouting@scouting.org. myscouting@scouting.org. Write them and ask that they consider putting wet shaving in the Boy Scout handbook, geared towards the Eagle Scout part of the hygiene merit badge. So, yeah, that's my last little blurb about that. I've been talking about this for weeks now. It seems like I'm not gonna let it go, but we got to see this through, folks. Okay, so I hope that answered your question, Chad. What's more important, a razor that looks pretty or a razor that works? Well, only you can answer that, Lars.
For me, it would be both. I mean, it's nice to have one work, but I want form and function. I want style and function. To me, that's really important.
I think that's what safety razors are, though. I haven't seen one safety razor that looks really bad. I mean, they're still much cooler than a cartridge razor any day.
Yeah, I mean, most to me, it's just kind of like the numbness of it, or it's kind of like
sterile.
It's very, it almost looks like there's really not a lot of, I mean, there was a thought put into, I'm sure, in the design, but it's the simplistic. It's a little too simple for me. I liked a lot of the older stuff that had a lot more style. I mean, you look at the stuff like it came out, in the 30s and 40s and the 20s and all that stuff way before we started going to World War II. And I mean, everything had style. I mean, even manhole covers on the street had better style. I mean, you walk in, like, you go down when you come out to Big Shave West this year, walk down Old Pasadena. I'll even walk with you if you want. I'll point out to you the most amazing little things you never even saw that have so much style. For what? There's no reason for electrical box to have style, but it did. And it's like, why did we decide not to keep doing that? Yes. And it's, it's part of this industrial evolution, and it's sad to see a lot of that stuff go, because to me that has a lot. I mean, everything should have as much importance.
We talked about this before, didn't we? We did talk about this, like ovens and refrigerators.
Everything simple had more style to it, because they thought that was what the future was going to be, and then eventually it just disappeared and became, something nice like this became whatever, like a pin, like just something cheap. I mean, it's with no aesthetics, because people don't want it to have aesthetics. People just want it to work, and it's like, well, for me, I want both. I want it to look really, really, really good. I want it to blow me away. I want it to make me want to grab it and buy it.
That's what separated us from communist Russia, people. That's really what what happened to us. Where did we drop this? But it's so true. I was actually watching a documentary on ancient military weapons and stuff like that, and they were focusing on Asia, and they had this missile. Pretty much. I mean, they invented gunpowder, and they were the first to invent missiles, believe it or not, like 1,700 years ago. And there was one with a dragon head on it. It was like and I love their names. It's like flying dragon out of water. You know, like, release the flying dragon out of water now, guys. And then these things would fly out. But imagine seeing a missile coming at you, and it was shooting other tinier missiles out of its mouth. So yeah,
fireworks
again. You know, there's no reason for why it had to look like a dragon. I mean, it's flying at you.
You look at the mortar that they would have shot that out of, and the mortar would have been decorated by
as well.
the house that made that mortar would have been, you know, had their crest on it. It would have had their design on it. So when you saw those marching out to the battlefield, you would have been like, "Oh, dude, that's that house's weapon," and they have known for, you know, taking stuff out, you know, that kind of stuff. To me,
with dragon-headed missiles.
Yes. It's like, why can't we have that everywhere? I mean, that's what I think the artisans movement is great. It's because, you know, we can kind of take that passion we like and put it into our work.
Well, there's a human element too.
And bring stuff back.
As humans, I think we do want that, because even when you saw them turning towards, like in our, you know, lifetime, or our grandparents' lifetime, you had missiles. Every missile looked the same, but you still had people painting their own personal little thing on the side of the missile, or the pinup girls on the side of the jets to separate them, to differentiate them. You know, it was a form of expression going on there. So we are trying to take it back here and there where we can, all throughout history, it seems like. But there is that rush, the assembly line push, you know, bottom line at the end of the day type thing going on. But as the modern man, as the everyday man, we do kind of want to trick it out to make it somewhat, you know, our own, it seems.
Well, like when you're making your Bakelite razor, I mean, you put a lot of thought into the style of the handle, just the knurling on it, you know, just the shape that it looked, you know, the over ideal of what you were, you know, putting into that. I mean, you could have just done something straight barreled, and, you know, like I've seen a lot of old Bakelite razors, even Clicks, I think, made a couple of diamond pattern ones that are just, they're simple. There's nothing to them. They're not something fancy, but you kind of went that other route. I mean, so you kind of understand that, you know. I would say, I mean,
if you can control the process, definitely. I mean, put something of your own into it.
All right.
We have more questions. I love the DOC Illuminous. Are you going to be making more? Yes, more are coming, FDan. It's not a one-stop process. It has to go from one person to the next person. It's gone through 3 parts so far. Let's see, what is it? Where are they at? I think they're being anodized right now in California, or they're in Maine. I don't know. There's a lot going on, but yeah, they will be back, and you will know exactly when they are, because I'll blast social media with that. So thank you for asking. Mantic. I'm not answering that. I'm not asking that question, but thanks, Lars, for participating. We're not a political show, guys.
Saw that down there. Ain't going there.
Yeah. We got Bob saying, I love you guys calling 1984 back in the day. Hey, great book and great album by Van Halen. Speaking of Pasadena, Van Halen. I'm glad to be shaving needs to have less grab acid. Okay, Bill, I'll consider that. I don't know what that means, but thank you. I'm really loving Magi, Doug, and also enjoyed the collaboration that you and Rob did for Riverside. Any hopes on bringing back the Riverside Blossom? The Riverside Blossom, funny enough, Rob and I actually did talk about doing that again, and then we did Clown Fruit.
I still think we should do something. We should bring it back this summer.
We'll bring it back. But Clown Fruit was supposed to be that, and then we just got a little carried away with that.
Yeah, it would have totally artistically. He understands doing fun soap, and
it glows.
It glows, which is awesome. And it was supposed to.
It glowed in the dark.
And it wasn't supposed to be something seasonal.
Soap.
It was fun. Yeah, it was just for fun. Yeah. You know, but I would like to personally. I know my wife absolutely loves the scent. I know I get emails at least a couple times a month from people that love that scent. There needs to be more of it in the world, and I think we should do something, revamp that for this summer, bring it out, because the summertime out here, it does smell exactly like that, and people are going to want it. So I hear everybody out there, all the emails, I get them, I see them, but we're working on it. Hopefully I can talk Douglas into
it'll happen,
hooking it up, but we should do something for sure.
What does grab ass info mean? Does anyone know what that means? Okay, anyways, what are the top 3 worst decisions? What are the top 3 worst decisions? Oh, Chris Bailey. I see what's going on here. I got people posing as other people. 3 worst decisions I've ever made in the last 10 years. I don't know. I don't think there's any such thing as a bad decision. I think you have to make a lot of mistakes to eventually make the right choices. If that helps. And
mistakes help innovation.
Well, you can't, you don't grow without some pain. Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So you got to make some mistakes, to get it right. And so other people don't have to make those mistakes. Okay. So what do we have here? Chris Bailey. Okay. Well, that's it for the questions, guys. So we have about 3 minutes left. Big Shave West. What can you tell us about last year, Robert? How was that for you? Was it what you expected? Was it everything you thought it would be and more?
Actually, it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. The attendance was something that I was surprised about. The attendance was really, really, really big. It was really well received. It was great to meet tons of people from all over the world in all different areas of wet shaving. To me, it was probably it was the best event last year for me. It was absolutely. And we weren't there the first year. Our products were there the first year. And I know that one kind of got rained out a little bit, but last year it was all inside, and I really enjoyed it being secluded all inside, all together, being able to hear the panel no matter where I was out in the building. It was just amazing. It was an amazing time. And I really look forward to it again. If you didn't come out last year, do yourself a favor and come out this year, because this year is going to be better than it was last year. I already know it is. So I'm excited to see what you guys bring to the table this year. Do you guys have anything new you're bringing to the table this year?
Jeez, we've talked about a lot. Some things are going, some things are not going. Like we've been talking about food trucks, but I think right now we're not going to be doing food trucks. We're just going to rely on the Bee's Knees, which is the cafe. Which is Damon's, sister-in-law's cafe that's attached to. It's part of Old Town. Well, part of Stats. So I think they're going to be catering to all of us, as they have been in the last 2 years. I just thought that the food trucks would offer a little more, options and take a little bit of stress off their kitchen. But they're happy to do what they've been doing. So I think the food trucks is off the table. But we're still putting everything together. There's so much detail. So if you're a vendor or an artisan watching this now, either now or after the fact on YouTube, and you're interested in partaking, please do. And if you have any demo ideas that you'd like to contribute or bring to do, or so, just let me know, and I would love to set something up for you to do any or all, whatever. I'm sorry, this is the cold medicine talking now. But demonstrations we're totally into. And I know that it's kind of confusing the way Damon has it written up on the site, but vendors, it's free for you. Your tables are free there. Unless you want to sell from your table directly. If you want to direct sell to your customers there, then the table fee, and I can't remember what it is. I don't remember.
$200. $200.
Sell at your table.
Changed it.
Yeah, okay, no, then it's $200. And otherwise, you can just take a free table and sell through his store. Choice is up to you. We're just trying to offer something for everybody there. So I think a lot of people are reading that and think that they have to pay this year. You don't. It's free. It's a totally free show, free admission, free for vendors. But there are things you can pay for. But totally up to you what you want to do. I personally don't like to sell stuff at events like this. I'd rather sell through the store because it gives me a chance to run around, not handle money, not get out the slider and try to figure out what's going on and enjoy myself. But if you want to do that, if that's what you're into, by all means. And Robert is the exact opposite. He wants to be there collecting.
I like being able to deal directly with customers and being able to shake your hand and thank you personally and make sure you get the best products we have available. So,
and maybe I'll follow suit this year. Who knows? I'll have my food truck actually parked behind the table and be selling directly. I have no idea what that means. Okay, folks, it's 5:01. I'm sorry, I'm a little low energy today. I have this cold. I've been trying to.
What's going on with the swag bag? You said you were going to mention what's going on. Do you have any information about the swag bag?
The swag bag. I'm glad you brought that up. So the swag bag is what comes in the swag bag is soap, aftershave, a T-shirt, a tour book. What else is there? Samples, and I think there's drink tickets also in there. I didn't look at it this year. That's what's been the last 2 years though.
Yeah.
So and that again is it's a bonus thing that you can buy in advance. But there's no need to because again, it's a free admission. So we purchased.
But there are not going to be swag bags available the day of the show, right? Those are all
not the day of. Right? It's pre-order. So if you're interested in a swag bag, I have the offers button down below. That'll take you right to that page, which will have better information than I do right now.
And for everyone watching, thank you for coming in and watching me here and talking about the Big Shave West 3. We're also running a promotion for today and tomorrow only. It'll be save 15% on our website at localjenshavingco.com, and you just type in the checkout, type in Big Shave West, the number 3, and save 15% order, $30 or more. So from everyone here at Local Gent, man there, and I hope to see you guys at the Big Shave West.
Yes, thank you all for joining us today. Happy VD, and thank you, Mantic, for joining us as well.
My pleasure.
Look forward to seeing the Maggards, Mantic.
Good. Look forward to seeing you too.
And I look forward to seeing all of you at the Maggards. Okay, ciao, folks. Take care, and thank you for joining us. See you in episode 77 of the Wet Shavers Roundtable next weekend. Ciao.